All right, folks, get ready for a deep dive. Tonight, we're all about Chelsea versus Bournemouth.
This should be a good one.
Oh, yeah. And we've got all the goods. Previews, predictions, even some betting tips for ya.
Always fun.
But we're going deep, really breaking it down. So you can, watch the game like a pro.
That's the goal.
We'll cover everything, team form, key players, potential upsets, the whole shebang.
And this one's especially interesting, with how close they are in the table.
No kidding. Chelsea's hanging on to 4th.
Right.
And Bournemouth's coming in hot at 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And only 3 points between them. So this isn't just any old mid-season game. This could be a real turning point.
Absolutely. Big implications if Bournemouth wins.
Huge upset, right?
Yeah.
Could really shake things up, show their contenders.
They're on a tear, too. 8 games unbeaten.
That's historic for them. Never seen a streak like that.
Wow. Makes Chelsea's recent form look even worse. 4 games without a win in the league.
Not pretty. Lots of pressure on Maresca, the manager. Yeah. What are the sources saying about that?
Ooh, some of them are getting pretty bold, saying his job might be on the line.
No way.
Yeah, if they don't turn things around soon. And the fans. Chelsea fans are. Well, they're not known for being patient.
That's true. They expect wins.
They demand them. So yeah, it's high stakes for sure.
Absolutely. Okay, so Chelsea needs a win, obviously. But they did just crush Morecambe 5-0 in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Any chance that gives them some momentum?
Maybe a little morale boost for sure. But Morecambe's a lower league team.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Not exactly the same level of competition as the Premier League.
True. Okay, so looking ahead to Tuesday, what's the lineup looking like? Any surprises?
Well, first of all, you can tell Maresca's taking this game seriously. Like, really seriously.
How so?
Looks like Pedro Neto might be the only player starting who also started in that cup match. Everyone else is rested up.
Whoa, that's a statement. He's really putting all his eggs in the Premier League basket.
Totally. And another interesting note, young Josh Achimpong.
Oh, yeah. Just signed a new contract. Seems to be back in favor.
Nice.
He'll probably start at center back. Big moment for him.
Big test, too. So some risks in the lineup then. But speaking of sure things, Cole Palmer.
Oh, yeah.
He's been on fire. Second only to Salah in goal involvements this season.
Incredible.
I think he'll be the key to unlocking Bournemouth's defense.
He could be. But Bournemouth's attack is no joke either. Even with substitutions, they've been scoring like crazy.
Really?
Most goals from subs in the league, actually.
Wow, that's impressive. So it doesn't even matter who they put out there.
Kind of feels that way. And their away form. Don't even get me started.
What about it?
Multiple goals in their last 5 away matches.
No way.
So, yeah. They're not scared of Stamford Bridge.
Sounds like this match is going to be a good one. Desperate team against a team on a historic run. And they both have some serious firepower.
Absolutely. Should be fun.
Okay, so let's talk Bournemouth specifically. Who should we be watching out for?
Well, Justin Kluivert's definitely one to watch. Yeah, I've heard of him.
Super versatile forward. Fast, good eye for goal.
Dangerous. Anyone else?
Dango Ouattara. Just bagged 2 goals in their cup match.
Nice.
Bringing his total to 5 for the season. So he's on a roll.
Okay, so 2 names to remember. But injuries, always a factor.
Yep.
Any big ones for either side?
Chelsea's still missing Fofana, Badiashile, and Dewsbury Hall.
Ouch. Ooh, that's rough. And Bournemouth.
They're missing their main strikers. Evanilson and Ines Unal, both out.
That's huge. Could be a problem for them. Maybe Chelsea can exploit that.
We'll see. Okay, so with all that in mind, what are the experts saying about who's going to win this thing?
Yeah, what's the consensus?
It's actually pretty divided. Some are leaning towards Chelsea, home advantage and all. Plus, Bournemouth's missing those key strikers.
It makes sense.
But others think it'll be a draw, pointing to Bournemouth's amazing form. And Chelsea's struggles, of course.
Yeah, tough to call this one.
Really is. That's what makes it so interesting. Yeah, those missing strikers for Bournemouth, that's a real game changer. I mean, they've been so important for them all season.
So tell me, why are these missing strikers so vital to how Bournemouth play?
Well, one of the sources really dug into this whole expected goals thing, XG.
Right.
And it turns out Bournemouth has actually been overperforming their XG all season.
Okay, so that means?
It means they're creating tons of scoring chances, but they haven't always been super efficient at actually putting the ball in the back of the net.
Ah, I see. So they're getting the opportunities, but not always finishing them.
Right. And that's where Evanilson and Unal come in. They've been their main goal scorers. Those guys you can just aim for in the box? Big targets. But without them, Who knows if Bournemouth can keep scoring at the same rate?
So how do you think they're going to adapt their attack without those two key players?
Good question. I mean, they have shown that they can be flexible, right? Find goals from different places. But Chelsea's defense, they're going to be all over that, looking for any weakness, any disruption to how Bournemouth usually attacks. Could be their chance to really shut them down.
Interesting. Okay, so let's switch gears a little bit.
Yeah.
One thing that really stood out to me from the sources was the difference in how these two teams play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Some analysts were saying Chelsea's all about possession, controlling the pace, building up play patiently.
Right.
But Bournemouth, they seem to prefer a more direct counterattacking style.
Yes. The classic tactical battle. And you're right. That difference in styles could make for a really exciting match.
So we could see Chelsea trying to keep the ball, like, slowly wearing down Bournemouth's defense.
Exactly.
Well, Bournemouth waits for the perfect moment to strike back, like a coiled spring.
Precisely. And that's where Chelsea's recent struggles could come into play. You know, they've had trouble breaking down some really stubborn defenses, even when they have most of the possession.
So even if they control the ball, they're not always turning that into goals.
Yep. And Bournemouth, on the other hand, they've been really solid defensively. Well-organized, disciplined, making it tough for anyone to get a clear shot.
Okay, so it sounds like we're in for a real tactical chess match.
Could be.
But beyond just like the strategy and formations, I think there's also a big mental game going on here.
Oh, for sure.
Chelsea's got to be feeling the pressure to get back on track. And Bournemouth, well, they're riding high, full of confidence.
Yeah, the psychology is huge in this one. For Chelsea, there's definitely a weight on their shoulders. I mean, this slump can't be easy, especially with how tight the race is at the top of the table. Every point matters.
You'd think Chelsea's experience in big games would give them an edge, though, right?
Maybe. But Bournemouth's got a different kind of pressure. They need to prove themselves, show that this amazing run isn't just a fluke, that they belong up there with the best. It's the classic underdog mentality. Nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Yeah, that can be a dangerous combination to face. So we've got contrasting playing styles, a mental battle brewing, and huge implications for both teams. It's crazy how this one game could have such a ripple effect on the rest of the season.
No doubt. I mean, if you zoom out and look at the big picture, if Chelsea wins, it could reignite their title hopes, put pressure on the teams above them.
Makes sense.
But if they lose or even draw, it'll raise some serious questions about whether they can actually stay in the race.
And for Bournemouth?
Win for them would be massive.
Huge, yeah.
Solidify their spot as a top contender. Send a message to everyone that they're a force to be reckoned with.
Totally. So this match is kind of like a crossroads.
It is.
Could really define the season for both teams.
The take time.
Now, I know we want to talk about those betting tips, but first, let's go back to this idea that Bournemouth has been underperforming their expected goals. That seems really important to understanding this matchup.
Absolutely. Definitely worth exploring further, because it could have a big impact on how this whole game plays out.
All right, so we're back to this whole expected goals thing.
Mm-hmm.
XG.
Right.
For anyone who's not a total stat nerd like us,
Uh-huh.
basically, it measures how many goals a team should have scored based on the quality of their chances.
Yeah. Looks at things like shot location, type of shot, how much defensive pressure there was, all that good stuff.
So it tells you if they're just getting lucky or if they're actually creating really good opportunities that should, statistically lead to goals.
Exactly. And with Bournemouth, it's interesting because their XG suggests they could have or even should have scored even more goals than they have.
So they're creating those chances, but not always finishing them.
Yep. And some of the sources actually went back and looked at their recent matches.
Oh, yeah.
And they noticed a pattern. Bournemouth's getting a lot of chances. But that final touch, not always there.
So they're knocking on the door, but can't quite get it open.
Like, for example, their last match against Brighton, their XG was 2.3, but they only scored one goal.
Wow, that's a pretty big difference. So do you think this trend, outperforming their XG, but not actually converting those chances into goals, do you think that could continue against Chelsea?
Well, it's tough to say.
Right.
On the one hand, you could argue they're due for a big game. Like, eventually all those chances have to start going in, right?
Right.
Especially against a Chelsea defense that hasn't exactly been rock solid lately.
Yeah, so it's like all that scoring potential is building up, just waiting to explode.
Exactly. But then again, you could also argue that Chelsea is going to be ready for it. They'll know about this pattern, and they'll be extra careful to shut down those opportunities.
Makes sense. I mean, yeah, Chelsea might be vulnerable. but they're still a top team with a lot of experience on defense.
Right. They're not going to make it easy for Bournemouth to score.
So it's almost like a battle of two forces.
Oh, so?
Bournemouth's attacking potential versus Chelsea's defensive strength. Who's going to win out? Who knows?
Could go either way. That's what makes it so exciting.
Okay, so let's talk about those betting tips.
Okay.
Just to be clear, we're not giving financial advice or anything.
Look, of course not.
These are just some interesting ideas from the sources we looked at. For fun.
Right. Gamble responsibly, folks. Always. But, yeah, there were some interesting ones. One that stood out to me was predicting a draw.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, given Chelsea's up and down form and how resilient Bournemouth has been, it wouldn't be a huge shock, right?
Not at all. Seems totally possible. And the odds aren't too bad either. What else?
Another one was both teams to score.
Ah, yeah, that's always a popular one.
Chelsea's been a little shaky at the back, and with Bournemouth's counterattacks, definitely some potential for goals there.
Plus, they've both got some real attacking talent,
Yeah.
even with the injuries. So, yeah, goals on both sides seem pretty likely.
I'd say so. Oh, and one more that I thought was interesting. The suggestion that Bournemouth might actually score first.
Whoa, really? That's a bold prediction.
It is. I mean, Chelsea has the home advantage, but Bournemouth hasn't been afraid to play aggressively on the road this season.
That's true. They've come out swinging in a lot of their away matches. Scoring early could really put Chelsea on edge.
Oh, yeah. Talk about pressure. So, yeah, there you go. Some things to consider if you're feeling lucky.
Always fun to think about. But of course, football is unpredictable. Anything can happen.
Always. That's the beauty of it.
So, to wrap things up, we've got two teams with everything to play for, contrasting styles, a mental battle. This match has all the makings of a classic Premier League clash.
For sure. And like we've been saying, the result could have a huge impact on both of their seasons.
Absolutely. So as we sign off, let's leave you with one final question to think about. We've talked a lot about Bournemouth's potential to, score more goals than their expected goals would suggest.
Right.
So the question is, are they about to have a breakout game, even without their main strikers? Or will Chelsea's defense be strong enough to shut them down? What do you think?
Tough one. Think about what we've discussed.
Yeah, consider those recent Bournemouth matches.
Are there any hints that they're about to explode offensively? Or do you think Chelsea can handle it? It's up to you to decide.
It's going to be fascinating to see how it all plays out. So tune in on Tuesday night and let's find out together. Enjoy the match, everyone.